Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
It is a bloody and illegal sport that often slips under the radar. Several cockfighting events have been busted in Texas this year, including here locally. Yesterday, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office raided one in the southern part of the county. As animal advocates tell our Daniela Ibarra, it's a crime the community can help catch.
Roosters pitted against each other to fight for their lives. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant Saturday to save them.
It's an epidemic. We've got to do something about it. And the way it happens is one by one.
Wayne Pacelli is the president of Animal Wellness Action, which works to stop animal cruelty. He says what happens at cockfights is horrifying.
And the recent bust in Bexar County shows exactly the true face of this ugly, barbaric, crime-ridden enterprise.
At this South Bexar County property, deputies say they found drugs, guns, and around 200 roosters. Some have injuries. BCSO Deputy Chief Nancy Sanford says 47 spectators were cited.
And it was early, so there probably would have been more coming to the event, but we felt like we didn't want any of the roosters to get harmed, so we felt like we should go in there, raid it sooner than later.
Deputies also arrested the suspected organizer, Paul Morales, on a felony charge. Sanford says BCSO has raided a few cockfights since 2017.
I believe it's going on, and we would like to find more of them.
Sanford says an anonymous tip led them to bust this one.
We can't just leave it to the police. We need the police and prosecutors, but we're the eyes and ears that can sniff out illegal activities and report them.
Records show Morales has since bonded out of jail, and he's expected in court for hearing next month. Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
It has now been 5 days since two gunmen fired 30 rounds into a northeast Bexar County home, killing a 4-year-old girl and leaving her parents and two siblings critically injured. A car matching the description of the getaway car has been found, but those two suspects you see on your screen right now are still out there. If you know who these people are or where they might be, help detectives get them off the streets. Call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office if you know anything that can help. That number is 210-335-6000. You can also email them at bcsotips@bear.org. Well, more people will soon qualify to apply for Social Security. That's thanks to a new rule that expands the definition of a public assistance household. Starting September 30th, a public assistance household will include those receiving SNAP payments. It will also include households with at least one SSI recipient and at least one other household member who receives public income maintenance. The expanded definition will increase payment amounts for some SSI recipients and reduce reporting burdens for people living in public assistance households. The new update is one of several that Social Security is publishing to improve their program. Top American officials are offering warnings to Israel ahead of the possible invasion into Rafah in southern Gaza. Israel appears poised to press ahead into the packed city. Israel says the targets will be focused, but has issued evacuation warnings ahead of time. The United Nations Relief Agency estimates 300,000 people have fled the city ahead of the anticipated ground offensive. Despite the massive movement of people, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is warning a potential invasion could lead to widespread civilian casualties.
Going into to Rafah, even to deal with these remaining battalions, especially in the absence of a plan for civilians, risks doing terrible harm to civilians and not solving the problem, a problem that both of us want to solve, which is making sure Hamas cannot again govern Gaza.
President Biden has threatened pausing certain weapon transfers to Israel if an invasion into Rafah happens. Israel says it will lay down its arms when Hamas agrees to returning 132 remaining hostages, those that are both alive and dead. Former President Donald Trump's New York hush money trial returning to the courtroom tomorrow. His former fixer, Michael Cohen, is set to take the stand. It was the disbarred attorney that paid porn star Stormy Daniels $130,000 to keep quiet Trump's alleged 2006 affair with her. That money allegedly paid days before the 2016 election. Cohen, who pleaded guilty in 2018 to lying to Congress, is believed to be the prosecution's star witness. ABC's Allison Cossack previews that testimony.
Michael Cohen is preparing to take the witness stand Monday. He made the $130,000 payment to porn star Stormy Daniels immediately before the 2016 election in order to buy her silence about an alleged affair which Trump has denied any wrongdoing. Prosecutors accused Trump of falsifying business records linked to that payment so the public wouldn't hear her claim, adding it was part of a scheme to deny voters information in which Cohen was at the center of. During the trial, the jury heard a recording of Cohen talking about how Trump complained about paying.
I can't even tell you how many times he said to me, I hate the fact that we did it. And my comment to him was, but every person that you've spoken to told you it was the right move.
On Friday, Cohen was rebuked by Judge Juan Merchan for making public comments ahead of his testimony. The defense suggested he impose a limited gag order similar to the former president, but the judge stopped short of issuing an official mandate. After court was dismissed, the presumptive 2024 Republican nominee lashed out at the decision.
There is no gag order to Michael Cohen. What the judge did was amazing, actually. It was amazing. Everybody can say whatever they want. They can say whatever they want, but I'm not allowed to say anything about anybody.
The jury also heard unflattering things said about Cohen during witness testimony. Stormy Daniels' former lawyer Keith Davidson called him a jerk and sort of a pants-on-fire kind of guy who no one wanted to talk to. Former White House Communications Director Hope Hicks said Cohen was Trump's fixer only because he first broke things. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
All right, heading outside with Live Cam now this Sunday night. Hopefully all of you moms had a wonderful Mother's Day. It was a little damp in spots this morning. We had a few light spots of sprinkles and a few showers push across the area. But after that, this afternoon, a few peaks of sunshine and the humidity was in place. You probably noticed that, especially compared to a slight break in the humidity that we saw over the past couple of days. As we look ahead to our Monday, more of that moisture is in store. So I think some patchy morning fog and a little bit of mist will be possible first thing tomorrow. High temperatures, though, thanks to partly cloudy skies by the afternoon, heading for the unseasonably warm upper 80s and low 90s in and around the Alamo City. There also is the potential, both in the morning and then by late afternoon and into the evening, that we need to monitor for a few windows or we could find a few thunderstorms out there. After that, Tuesday and into Wednesday morning, another slight break in the humidity is expected, but more of that Gulf moisture is quickly going to work in, so a mid to late week storm chance is back in the forecast with additional warmer than average temperatures. So a lot to unpack in this week's forecast. We're going to talk all about it and get you all those details coming up a little bit later on. Courtney.
Yeah, thank you. See you soon. Now for a look at some of today's big headlines in your Nightbeat News Flash. The Silver and Black are pumped up after learning where they will be picking in the summer's NBA draft. The Spurs will be picking twice in the first 8 picks come next month. Picks 4 and 5 belong to San Antonio in a year where there's no consensus. There's no doubt over the overall best player. You can watch the Spurs make their picks live on KSAT 12 on Wednesday, June 26th. The Coast Guard will remove a large piece of the Francis Scott Key Bridge near Baltimore tomorrow. It was supposed to happen today, but weather was an issue. Small explosives will be used to break apart the chunk of the bridge that's sitting on top of the cargo ship that crashed into the bridge back in March. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure is planning to hold a hearing on the investigation on Wednesday. And former President Donald Trump could owe more than $100 million in taxes because of a Chicago skyscraper. According to the New York Times, the IRS has been investigating the losses from the building for years. The Times also found Trump claimed financial losses on it twice, calling the property worthless. The revision sought by the IRS could result in that tax bill of more than $100 million. The former president's son, Eric Trump, says the matter was settled years ago and was only brought back up because of his father's presidency. And that's a look at your Nightbeat News Flash. Tonight on KSAT Explains, tipping. You've seen those screens at the checkout counter. The cashier flips it around and gives you tip options. And here's why that's sometimes confusing or maybe a little frustrating.
There are some opportunities that we don't need to tip, but we're often asked if we want to tip.
So what do? We break down advice on when you should tip and when to ignore the pressure. Plus, how do those digital kiosks work? KSAT explains at 10:30. A San Antonio group is going to the next level to eradicate bullying in schools, how they're getting their message across, and where they're headed next. One San Antonio group is taking social media by storm, and there's a very powerful message behind their videos. The Night Team's Avery Everett shows us how the men and women behind the anti-bully gang are spreading their message with the help of the internet.
Hi.
A hello and a handshake
Hi. What's your name?
are usually the first steps in friendship.
You got the smile of a winner. You know that?
But in this friend group, the sights and the sounds bring a whole lot more than just any simple greeting.
We're all your friends, so we got your back too.
This is the anti-bully gang,
We help them with confidence. We keep in touch with them. We make sure that they're okay.
a group based in San Antonio trying to stop bullying and spread positivity. And King Kyle Lee started it all.
Kids need to know that they are loved and people have their back.
He's taking action in the real world and putting it out on social media. Now millions of people are hearing his message, and he's trying to take this movement nationwide.
Somebody was over here getting bullied.
They've showed up for dozens of kids and created dozens of social media videos.
Man, we back at it, man. We want them to see who has their back and who cares about them and who pulls up for them. We heard that your favorite G-Wagon.
After a parent reaches out asking for help, these men and women show up in the school pickup line, all decked out in style, to deliver an important message.
When I talk to the kids, I ask them one question. Do y'all like to be bullied? No. Okay, well, why is anybody bullying? So me and my homies had to pull up, man.
What may look like just any TikTok trend is actually about building real connections and changing lives, like Adam Taggle.
He's like kind of like your brother that stands like in the front of the bullies to make them go away.
Adam says it was hard making friends in middle school. His mom says he was struggling to show up each morning. That's when she reached out to the anti-bully gang.
He had smiled for the first time in about 2 years. He was smiling, he was happy, he wanted to go to school.
A success story.
It's brought my son back.
And a forever friendship.
Hey, if a kid's getting bullied, do y'all love them? Yeah! Yeah, you got people back here that love you.
As the engines kick in and this caravan takes off, King Kyle Lee says his work has only begun to stop bullying in San Antonio.
No, it's gonna take a while, but it could happen.
So you may be wondering, when are they going to hit the road next, or where are they going? Well, they went to Houston this past week, and they say they're planning a nationwide road trip soon. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
What an incredible group. It's unique. I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
And what caught my eye the most was how many cars show up.
So many people there for the cause, and the fact that they're traveling too and trying to hit so many different cities and even a nationwide effort. I can't even imagine all of the spirits that they are raising by doing that.
Yeah, and there's such a stigma to bullying that we talk about a lot, and the kids that are brave enough to talk about this, but that really breaks that down. They're really getting on the kids' level and making everyone feel cool and accepted. Oh, I love it. Great job, guys, to the gang out there.
So inspirational.
Yes.
And another group that is very inspirational, all of our mothers.
Oh, yes, they are. Look at you with your transition.
There you go. We had so many amazing folks send in their Mother's Day pictures to KSAT Connect, and this has been one of the highlights of my day, just kind of going through all of them, because there's so many photos. We were talking about this earlier at 5:30 that are just multi-generational.
Yes.
You know, it's mom and grandma and great-grandma and then the newborn. And these are all just so much fun. I love seeing how everybody got super creative and was just taking their mom out to brunch or for lunch, and take a look at those balloons.
Oh, wow. They did a good job.
This was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
and
that was great.
All of the flowers and the cakes too.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Wow, that mom better feel special.
I know. It's amazing. I love this one too. Wishing all the Wonder Woman moms an amazing day. So yes, thank you to everybody that sent in these KSAT Connect photos. Did y'all have a good Mother's Day? Did you, Courtney?
We did. It was wonderful. I just wanted, as y'all have probably heard if you've been with us, my bagel spread. I got my bagels. I kicked up my feet on the couch, and it was phenomenal.
I saw it on your Instagram story.
Yeah.
It looked
it's on
pretty
social.
amazing. So yes. All right. So now we have to transition, of course, to talking about about the forecast. We had the humidity back in place today. That was a big theme of this Mother's Day. Dew points right now are in the upper 60s and low 70s, which in some locations is about 5 to 15 degrees above where we were this time last night. So you can definitely feel more of that moisture whenever you step outside, and it's not going anywhere. As we look ahead to our Monday, another muggy start to the work week is in store. But notice here on your dew point trend, by Tuesday and into Wednesday, we're actually going to catch a slight break in some of that moisture, but then as quickly as it's shoved out, it comes right back in. More humidity in store Thursday, Friday, and even into the start of next weekend. Along with some of that moisture also comes a few storm chances that we need to talk about starting with your Monday. So let's go ahead and time out that setup. You can see right now across the state of Texas, there's more scattered to even widespread rain moving across the Texas-Louisiana border. That stretches over into parts of Arkansas as well as Mississippi as a warm front continues to work eastward. Low pressure system off to our north and a weak front that's off to our northwest. That boundary is going to start creeping closer to south central Texas into our Monday and eventually push through the area tomorrow evening. Unfortunately, we're not expecting a relief in terms of temperatures. In fact, it's only going to get hotter by Monday afternoon and Tuesday. We'll talk about that in just a second, but yes, I want to talk about those storm chances into tomorrow. By midnight, so over the next couple of hours, mostly cloudy and quiet, a few sprinkles to an isolated shower possible. Into tomorrow morning, patchy fog is expected to develop, so that's something to keep in mind for the morning drive, as well as a little bit of drizzle and mist in a few locations. Tomorrow's storm chance comes in two windows. The first window, which is not as much of a guarantee, is in between 8 a.m. to noon. We'll need to monitor areas west of I-35 across the southern Edwards Plateau in the hill country to maybe find a little cluster of thunderstorms develop. If that happens, it'll track eastward through the lunchtime hour and continue to work through parts of the region. By the early afternoon, partly cloudy skies are expected, which is what's going to help those temperatures climb into the afternoon. And then the second chance to find some scattered thunderstorms arrives by 4 o'clock as we start to see that weak front move in from the northwest. So some scattered thunderstorms possible by late Monday afternoon and into the evening. Better chances along and east of the I-35 corridor for this round. Most of whatever we do find does look to push out of the area by about 10 to 11 p.m. If we do find some thunderstorms develop, it is possible that they sit on the strong to even severe side. Main things we will need to monitor some instances of hail as well as strong winds. You can see that 2 out of 5 severe risk from the Storm Prediction Center does extend farther off to our east tomorrow as well. Let's talk about temperatures. A very humid start. Low to mid 70s first thing tomorrow here in San Antonio. 84 degrees by 1 p.m. Again, partly cloudy skies into the early afternoon, helping those temperatures climb. We've got a forecast high right around 90 degrees here in town, but the farther south and west that you go, a little bit hotter. Low to mid 90s expected. We're in the low 90s on Tuesday. Pretty quiet there as well. But then as we start to see a little bit more of that Gulf moisture work back in, late Wednesday and into Thursday, another scattered storm chance. So we're going to time out that setup, get you those details and even what we're looking at into next weekend coming up in the next half hour, Courtney.
At least we see some rain.
That's helpful, right?
That's what matters.
Look at you, optimistic.
I'm trying. I try. Thanks, Mia. All right, a preview of Instant Replay right after this. The 14 teams that did not make the NBA playoffs this season were invested in the NBA draft lottery today, including the San Antonio Spurs. We're going to talk to Larry. I think earlier in one of my stories, I accidentally said 4 and 5, but we've got picks 4 and 8, which is amazing.
It is amazing. Yes. And I'll tell you what, the draft lottery is high tension TV. Right. That's for sure, because you just don't know what's going to happen. So the Spurs walked away with 2 top 10 draft picks as they look to build around Victor Wembanyama, coming up tonight on Instant Replay.
Here we go. You are looking at the NBA Chief Security Officer, Leon Newsom. He is escorting the only man in this ballroom who knows the results of the draft lottery.
The Spurs are the only team in the 2024 NBA draft to earn 2 top 10 picks at number 4 and 8. The lottery balls bounce in their favor for the second straight season. Now the Spurs have a lot to figure out before the draft in late June. Keep the picks or maybe trade them for a seasoned veteran during the offseason.
You know, receiving this trophy here with fans, with kids, and, you know, everyone happy to be there. It's it's also a good, a good feel for me and a good representation of the love that we felt throughout the whole year.
Victor Wembanyama picked up his NBA Rookie of the Year trophy at the Scobie Planetarium with some 50 children there from local boys and girls clubs, Big Brother, Big Sister programs, and students from a nearby elementary school. And then Wemby talked about dark matter.
First of all, tell us about this chance you're getting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think it's definitely a blessing for sure. I've been chasing this dream, ever since I started playing football.
Rashad Wisdom is the latest alumni from Judson High School to get a shot at the NFL. The UTSA great is one of several area football players to earn NFL camp invites. Rashad joined Tampa Bay as an undrafted free agent, so what kind of player are the Bucs getting in him? Brahmas head coach Wade Phillips wasn't smiling in today's game until less than 3 minutes were left. We'll show you how this homecoming to the Roughnecks turned out. And we've got the Gunslingers in action. And what do you think Wemby will win next? Defensive Player of the Year, All-Star MVP, NBA MVP, or the NBA championship? That's our poll question tonight, coming up on Instant Replay.
What about like a blue ribbon on like a science project describing dark matter in that much detail and explaining it correctly in a language that's not his first language?
Exactly. He got so excited to talk about it.
That light. Yeah. Yep. Love to see that. All right, well, stick around. Myra Arthur is tackling tipping after the break. What to do, what not to do when it's time to tip. KSAT Explains is up next. To tip or not to tip? That's a bigger question these days. Thanks to those tablets you always see at registers now, a lot of those screens are in places or for services that you might not have tipped for in the past. So what do? Here's Myra Arthur with KSAT Explains.
You're in line to order, you go to pay, and there it is, the tip option. A little screen applying some big-time pressure. And it's not just for food anymore, it's nearly everywhere.
We put it out there and let them decide for themselves.
Lori Hernandez owns Oh Yeah Cakes, a custom bakery in Southtown.
Our custom cakes take about 2 months in advance notice.
Lori knows her industry is not one where tips are expected, and yet...
I would say 80% of our customers tip.
She added the tipping option to her app checkout system after customers started asking to leave a tip.
People accidentally skip the tip part and they'll be like, oh my God. And I'm like, it's okay, like, you just come back.
That little tiny app that we are all very aware is every place we go. So we don't know what to do, and we feel pressured.
Diane Gottsman is a national etiquette expert who happens to be based here in San Antonio and is currently fielding question after question about when to tip, including my own.
The conversation is regenerated about tipping. The technology is new because now it's everywhere. So is there a standard yet on how to handle that?
Yes. So the standard is as it has always been. The standard is going to be 15 to 20%. That's a standard.
But, and this is the reason for the confusion and yes, sometimes the frustration when it comes to tipping.
There are some opportunities that we don't need to tip, but we're often asked if we want to tip.
Let's say you go to a frozen yogurt shop. You fill your cup, you add the toppings, you go to pay, and then you're given tip options on that little screen. Or you go to a restaurant where everyone knows you should tip for service, but you buy a t-shirt at the checkout and still get the tip options. In those examples,
so that's not really tip worthy. That is just an exchange of a product. It's just like you're going to one of the department stores, you're buying a piece of clothing and you're out.
Tipping comes down to one word for Gottsman: discretionary. She says to think about the service provided to you. Is it a black cup of coffee or a latte made to your liking? Or maybe your order wasn't complicated, but the service was great.
We get to choose. We get to decide who gets a tip and who doesn't. A tip jar is the same thing as a tip app, and there was no obligation with this tip jar.
So why then does tipping seem more confusing now, more high stakes? Well, these apps added a little psychology to the mix.
Now we have options. Now we think someone is watching us behind us. We know the person in front of us potentially is watching us and is certainly going to know what we left when we walk away. So that app feels more it just feels more awkward.
Tipping itself has been around a long time.
It started actually in Tudor England. When people would visit homes, they would give tips to the servants in the home that they were staying at. And then it spread to restaurants and other parts of Europe. And then it got imported to the United States.
While thought of as a very American thing to do today, tipping wasn't always widely accepted in the U.S. There was once an anti-tipping movement.
And so like 6 states passed laws banning tipping. And they were in the early 1900s. And then what happened was there were laws repealing it. And so by the 1920s, there were no states that were banning tipping.
Trinity economics professor David McPherson has researched the effect of the tip minimum on employment. In Texas, there's something called a tipped wage.
It's $2.13 an hour.
Yes, $2.13 an hour.
But you have to have enough tips to get to $7.25, and if there's a shortfall, then the employer is supposed to make up the difference.
That tipped wage is essentially an hourly rate that you receive, that as long as you have tips that bring you at least above minimum wage, that is something that will then allow you to go as high as, on average right now, the average restaurant frontline waiter, wait staff member is earning $27 an hour.
So tips are a huge part of earnings for those in the service and hospitality industry, and they're up.
Square reported just last quarter that tipping was up about 16.5%.
That's for full service restaurants compared to the year before. Tips were up nearly 16% for quick service restaurants. Square is one of the platforms used on these digital point of sale systems. It's what Lori Hernandez uses in her bakery. And yes, there is a fee for that. That fee is a percentage of every transaction, and it's based on the total, including the tip. So the higher the tip, the higher the total, and the higher the fee businesses pay for this digital service.
That little app does have some value because many people don't carry cash. And without that piece of technology, we couldn't use our credit card.
For Lori, it's not just more money in the bank, it's more money to offset rising costs that we're all feeling.
COVID's kind of died down, but inflation is really killing us.
The basic business model is rent is up 20%, food cost is up double digit, and labor is up double digit. On a very narrow margin business, that's tough.
What's also up in some cases is the percentages in these tip options.
I was just at a coffee shop where they had to start it at 20, and then they have 25 and 30 as your options.
Technology is making tipping easier when you don't have cash, but in some cases, it's helping generate bigger tips too.
And it clearly matters. It definitely does increase the size of tips.
There's a learning curve with any new technology, and digital tipping may be no exception.
I think we're definitely in a period where that is going to sort itself out, and the consumer in the end will make that choice as this technology continues to evolve.
How much you tip is a choice, and that's what Gottsman says to remember.
If they go above and beyond, they call you by name, they're gracious, they're friendly, they make your day better, you make their day better, and you want to tip, please do. The word discretionary keeps coming up because that's what this is.
$5.75. I wouldn't feel pressured. I tell my customers all the time, like I said, when it gets to the tip screen, hey, feel free to skip that. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
And we asked our etiquette expert if there's an area where people should be tipping that we normally don't think about. Her answer was yes, pet groomers. So there's a different kind of tip for you. You can watch any KSAT Explained story on demand by scanning this QR code or going to KSAT.com or the KSAT YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
But first, we're going to take a look outside with live cam again. We still have some of the cloud cover in place tonight, the humidity as well. Temperatures currently in the 70s. And this comes after a warm afternoon. Believe it or not, highs were actually able to reach for the upper 80s and even a few low 90s in some locations. Look at the almanac data for today. 68 degrees was our official low temperature, 3 degrees above the average of 65. We were near 90, but about 89 in San Antonio this afternoon, a little bit above the average of 86. Records for the day, 101 as well as 46 set back in 1967 and 1952 respectively. Warming up over the next couple of days, plus a few storm chances to talk about. We're going to get you another look at those details coming up.
Thanks, Mia. Well, mass fentanyl poisoning is hitting too close to home for some local mothers who lost their kids to the deadly drug. See how they're mobilizing first responders, elected leaders, and the recovery community to find solutions. A mass fentanyl poisoning in Austin is sparking action right here in San Antonio. A bad batch of drugs in Austin laced with fentanyl killed 9 people and left about 75 people needing Narcan rescues. This was just more than a week ago. It hit too close to home for many in our own city. I talked to a group of moms this week who mobilized first responders, politicians, and addiction specialists to talk local solutions.
Braden was a fun-loving 21-year-old who loved his Mustang, his family, his friends, his dog.
But in 2020, Braden lost his life to fentanyl, a deadly drug that has made its way into all other drugs without people knowing it. His mom, Nikki Gohl, is now an angel mom, a title she'd wish on no one.
My daughter, Danica, was murdered by fentanyl almost 2 years ago.
Almost 2 years ago, I lost my son, Cody, to fentanyl poisoning.
It was the shared grief that fueled these moms to pull politicians, first responders, and recovery experts into their fight to save lives. Last Monday, everyone in those groups and agencies were gut-wrenched to hear a batch of drugs laced with fentanyl killed 8 people in Austin and left about 75 hospitalized.
Those pills could make their way in somebody's car down to San Antonio.
Angel mom Kathy Drago immediately organized this press conference at the Firefighters Union to let people know they are working on solutions but need the community's help.
We want to get into every single school and share what's going on in our community with them so they don't make a bad choice.
And a big part of that education is the rescue drug Narcan. I keep this in my purse at all times. It's a nasal spray, and I've learned how to use it. And these angel moms say you should too. State Representative John Lujan has been fighting alongside these moms, securing funding to put Narcan in schools and other public places. But he says it's still not enough.
This next legislative session, we will be doing more, no doubt about it.
And speaking of policy, he also has a message for drug dealers who likely don't know if fentanyl is in their drugs.
They can't play ignorant anymore. The laws are written now that you can be charged with murder on that, and they got to take that responsibility.
Those wins bring Gohl tiny pieces of comfort, and those pieces begin to accumulate, forming hope.
This is Braden's thumbprint, so I always have a part of him with me.
And her loss will never be in vain. So if you want free Narcan, you can contact 2 of the Angel Moms organizations, as well as recovery organization Cicada, and they'll bring the Narcan to you. Those links are on our website, KSAT.com. You can also scan the QR code right now on your screen.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we say all the time on the weekend Nightbeat shift, what is our favorite thing, or at least one of our favorite things, and that's amazing sunset photos. And we had a really nice sunset out there this evening. Take a look at some of these KSAT Connect submissions. This is from our friend Skywatcher here in San Antonio. I love that caption. A beautiful sunset for all of our moms on Mother's Day. Check out all of the colors in the sky from this photo that was sent in from the Canyon Lake area. Absolutely beautiful. I love this shot of the San Antonio skyline. Beautiful view from the Skyline building. And then here's another one from Canyon Lake as the clouds rolled in. Kind of looks like cotton candy out there with those pretty colors in place. So thank you everybody for sending in those photos. All right, weather headlines into the upcoming week. Again, tomorrow, patchy morning fog and then a few different windows to find some thunderstorms. The first one in between about 8 a.m. to noon. That one's not a guarantee, but something we'll need to monitor. And then the next one moving in by about 4 p.m. and continuing into the evening hours as we start to see that weak front push into south central Texas. Behind that boundary, a slight break in humidity is expected Tuesday and into Wednesday morning. Unseasonably warm temperatures in store, upper 80s and low 90s for the most part, and a few more storm chances, especially by Wednesday night and into Thursday. So let's talk about that setup. Again, this is what we're dealing with right now, that low pressure system off to our north. More of that scattered to widespread rain pushing across parts of the deep south. By the way, that's where a flood watch is in place in some locations running through even Tuesday morning across southern Alabama, parts of the Florida Panhandle, southern Mississippi as well, as that activity continues to work its way farther east. Again, on your future cast tomorrow morning, there's the potential to find a few thunderstorms in between 8 a.m. to noon closer to the San Antonio area, then a few more possible later in the afternoon and into the evening as we see that boundary move through. Pretty quiet into Tuesday, mostly sunny skies, helping those high temperatures climb into the low 90s. But then that next chance to find some scattered rain and thunderstorms works in late Wednesday and into Thursday. That's going to be thanks to this second area of low pressure moving across the desert southwest. By that time frame, it's going to be approaching the Lone Star State. Once again, our winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere in from the southwest, allowing more pockets of upper level energy to move through. So that's going to sync up with more of that Gulf moisture in place. Into Wednesday, we're going to call it about a 20 to 30% potential, especially later in the day. Then a 40% chance on Thursday, just isolated chances continuing into your Friday and Saturday. We'll definitely take anything that we can get. Here's the latest drought monitor that was released on Thursday. Unfortunately, not much in terms of changes, even though we have seen a little bit of rain here and there over the past couple of weeks. We still have extreme drought in place across the hill country. This orange color is that severe drought that extends down Highway 90 closer to the Rio Grande for places like Del Rio as well as Eagle Pass. Until then, it is humid out there right now. We don't have a ton in terms of fog, but slightly lowered visibilities have been noted over the past hour, especially for places like Castroville as well as New Braunfels. You can see first thing tomorrow morning, we are expected to start off with some patchy fog, mist, and a little bit of drizzle. Highs headed for 90 degrees tomorrow afternoon, low 90s into Tuesday. Courtney will continue to keep everybody posted about those scattered storm chances at times this week on your KSAT Weather Authority app.
All right, we'll stick with the app. Thank you, Mia. A new Planet of the Apes movie arrived in theaters this weekend. How did it do at the box office? Find out next on the Nightbeat.
Godzilla Kong: The New Empire dug in its massive heels to hold on to 5th place this weekend with $2.5 million. Taro stayed in 4th with $3.5 million, while Challengers maintained its 3rd place position with $4.7 million.
Why are you here?
I think there's been a misunderstanding.
Clearly.
Ryan Gosling's turn as the Fall Guy fell from 1st place to 2nd in its sophomore weekend in theaters. The action romance netted $13.7 million, bringing its domestic box office total to just under $50 million.
What a wonderful day!
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes won the box office throne in its opening weekend. The latest film in the Apes franchise ran off with $56.5 million in the U.S. Variety reports the movie made an additional $72.5 million internationally for a debut total of $129 million. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Victor Wembanyama was all smiles at his NBA Rookie of the Year presentation yesterday, and San Antonio Brahmas head coach Wade Phillips went from unhappy to happy in Houston. For more of what's on Instant Replay, here's Larry Ramirez.
I love when Coach Phillips gets all excited and starts dancing around after a win. It's really something to see. Now, things didn't look good for most of the game for the Brahmas, and then the 4th quarter happened, coming up tonight on Instant Replay.
It's empty for the backup quarterback, Kevin Hogan, going for 3 to Cody Latimer. We're tied at 12.
Wade Phillips is one happy camper. His team trailed the Houston Roughnecks 12-3 with 2:36 left in the 4th quarter, and that's when the Brahmas got going. They tied the game, forced a turnover, and then they won via a walk-off field goal. We'll show you that wild ending.
And then here you start in this season.
San Antonio FC will now enjoy a long break after wrapping up a stretch of 3 matches in 8 games. They closed out that stretch by earning a point last night at home against the Las Vegas Lights FC. And goalkeeper Kendall McIntosh made his first USL Championship start of the season, and he wants more. The NBA Draft Lottery was today, and the Spurs have to be feeling good. We've also got the Rangers, Astros, the NBA playoffs, and our latest Scholar Athlete of the Week is heading to Notre Dame. That much more coming up right after the Nightbeat.
Lots of local and NBA.
It's the way we love it.
Really excited. All right, thanks, Larry. We'll be right back.